Hello everybody, my name is Antics and welcome to a little something different. I'm going to call this series Flantics CHATS. Just kind of sit down and play a game and relax and allow you guys to kind of see what I do on the Xbox, a few clips that I record here and there, and kind of talk to you guys about some stuff. Today we're playing Destiny. As you can see, I'm a real big player of that online. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any videos of this in the future, but I may, you know. It's a really fun game to play. Today I just want to sit down and chat with you guys about a couple things that are on my mind. Like, say, for instance, AAA gaming versus indie gaming. And that's a big topic in the gaming community. It's something that we tend to talk about a lot, and it's the argument is indie gaming taking over the AAA gaming world? And to me, that's not necessarily the case, but the AAA games still have the more budget, they still have the nicer games, as it were, quote unquote, but they don't necessarily always have the best games. I mean, we always have to think about what it means to be a AAA gaming company, and they're the companies that have like the control over what goes on on the top in video gaming, and they set sort of the tone as to what games come out and what games are the standard or what games are trending. And I mean, you're not going to see very many indie gaming companies that are coming out with big titles like Destiny, like the Call of Duties, like Madden, and those games are AAA. They're the thing that really kind of gives us what we have to deal with in the gaming environment. And one way or another, the games that are made by AAA, we got to give them respect. They've been around long enough to gain that notoriety, to gain that ability to bring out these games. But we also have to make them a little bit more accountable for some of the content that they put out. Like, for instance, the big topic right now is pre-ordering games. And I'm not really a big advocate for pre-ordering games. I don't think pre-ordering is something that a gamer should advocate for, should condone. A lot of these big titles will come out, they'll make a bunch of money before they even ever actually get released. And these titles are huge. They're things like Assassin's Creed, things like Watch Dogs, all these titles that are making a bunch of money before they even ever come out. And a lot of these titles, like, they have so much backing, so much interest from the community that it's hard for these AAA companies to not resist the temptation to just say, you know what, the game that we've shown them thus far is good enough. Let's stop. Let's allow this to be what we give them. And it's not always what we're promised. A lot of times you see that with things like No Man's Sky more recently. You saw that with Watch Dogs when it first came out. And these are games that are huge. They were great games on their own as they were. But because they had that backing, because they had such huge anticipation, such huge play, the company could have just said, they just said, forget it. Let's stop funding, let's cut things here and there, let's save some money, and let's take that profit that we've already made and put it right into our pockets, instead of putting it back into the game. And that's where AAA faults. But then again, like I mentioned with No Man's Sky, that's not necessarily a AAA only thing. No Man's Sky was made by an indie company. So that company was responsible for releasing a game that should have been better, that should have been more, that a lot of people, a lot of the community was outcrying that it was a game that wasn't promised. We got a game that was worse than what was expected and what was delivered. And while while AAA gaming isn't the only one that's responsible for that, I do think that a lot of things that we need to consider is, are we responsible? Are gamers responsible? And that's where the pre-order thing comes out. And AAA they don't push for pre-orders. The companies that push for pre-orders are companies that sell them. Things like the places like GameStop and Best Buy. Those are the guys that really push for pre-orders. And I don't know. Maybe the AAA companies push those companies to push their pre-orders. I'm not sure, but I do know that I find that gamers have the ability to take control and be able to tell these companies what we want and what we expect out of them. And that's really the key there, is that we deserve more. We deserve to be given the best content that these companies can create every time. We give them so much. We give them so much of our time, of our money, of our dedication and loyalty. I mean, there are people that will only purchase from certain AAA companies. I mean, I know that because of the stuff that they've done, I won't really touch EA. I don't like a lot of their stuff. I don't like the way that they conduct business. So there are some games that I really look twice at with EA. More so because they are the company that they are, because of the way that they've released stuff. And for me, the only exception for that is things that BioWare touches, which anything BioWare touches turns to gold. But it's really the idea of questioning what hype brings up. And AAA has that hype going for it. But indie games don't always have that hype. Indie games don't always have that backing. And rarely do we ever see a game that's an indie game that has a ridiculous amount of hype, like No Man's Sky did. So for me to think that No Man's Sky got the hype it did was ridiculous. It was stupid. The people getting mad at No Man's Sky not being the game it was, it's weird, because that's an indie company. They don't make AAA games. They don't make these games that are like Destiny, like the game that I'm playing right now. That's these kind of graphics, these kind of expectations, the level that these sorts of games have given us to expect. They don't have the budget for that sort of thing, and yet we still believed that they can give us these lofty promises. And whether or not we'd like to admit it as gamers, that's on us. And hype is I'd say 75% on us. But hype isn't always the main thing here. Hype isn't always the bad thing. It's not always the bad guy. Occasionally hype can be really good. There are some games coming out right now that look amazing, and if they're even half as good as some of the stuff that they're saying it will be, the next year and a half of gaming should promise to be extremely entertaining, and I'm looking forward to it. I am. But I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from games like Watch Dogs, from games like No Man's Sky, going back even further, games like Fable. Hype kills games. It does. If you believe the hype, if you follow the hype, if you get into the hype, it kills the game. It doesn't matter how good that game was. If you actually look at it and analyze it and actually see what kind of game it was, if you believe that hype, there's nothing that will ever live up to it. And that's what kills gaming. Not indie versus AAA. Not AAA coming in and saying, oh yeah, we have the next big thing. Not even the pre-orders. Pre-orders suck. They do. They give excuses for gaming companies to produce less and reduce the quality that they're producing. But it doesn't kill a game like hype does. It's sad because Destiny, this game that I'm playing right now, look at it. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's a great first-person shooter game. I don't care who you are. If you don't like Destiny, it's because you're not seeing past the hype. You're not seeing past what Bungie was making of it and seeing what it is, what it has actually become. Yeah, first year wasn't all that great. It had its flaws. But it was a great game, even from the start. And the issue that I have is that so many people follow this hype. So many people see the hype and say, you know what, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to take that under my belt and I'm going to make it mine. And it's sad. It's sad because these games deserve more. They deserve to be seen as what they are, not what they are promised to be, not what the companies are saying they're going to be. We need to formulate our opinion once we've actually played the game for ourselves. Once we've actually seen somebody play the game. Not necessarily once we've heard about it. Not necessarily once we've seen the first gaming previews before the game has been released. Even that isn't going to give us an accurate enough representation of what a game is. Once it's released, once it's being sold to the public on wide, that's when we need to make our decision on what makes a good game. And it's sad that we haven't actually gotten to that point yet. I feel like we can. I feel like we're close to that. But, you know, it's whatever. I mean, I have my own opinions and that sort of thing, but occasionally it's not always indie versus AAA. But sometimes it is. Sometimes you just want to stick it to the man. You don't really want to play those big indie games. You don't want to play the Maddens or the Call of Duties or any of that crap. You want to sit down and you actually want to play a game that was made by gamers for gamers. And that's what some of these other companies are doing. That's what some of these pre-release betas, these pre-alpha games, those are creating the future. And those are the guys that can actually bring us forward beyond what AAA gaming could even do. Because AAA gaming is so set in its ways. But anyway, this has been pretty nice. I hope you guys have been enjoying this talk. I mean, I hope I'm not like talking out of my ass here or anything. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride here on YouTube so far. Hope you guys keep watching. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment for me and like. And I will see you guys in the next video. Flantics out. Oh man. Oh, that stuff kicks hard. Oh.